All right. Good day, folks. I wanted to also say happy Sunday fun day to everyone out there, wherever you are. You know, it's a great day to meditate, focus on your week ahead. So I hope you have a prosperous one. And let's get into this. So this video, I wanted to share with you. It's something about Bitcoin Cash. And yes, I know I've been talking a lot about Bitcoin Cash, and there are many other cryptos, so bear with me. But this one is significant because it's really closely related to Bitcoin in terms of features and possibilities, as well as the cash market right now. Globally speaking, the fiat cash market is $100 trillion in value. Gold right now in value is about $10 trillion, right? So if you look at where Bitcoin is strategically placed right now, it is targeting the gold market as a store of value. So therefore, gold 2.0 with the current fiat and cash market, Bitcoin Cash has been targeted to that market, which is currently valued at $100 trillion. If Bitcoin Cash succeeds in a small way, perhaps even 1% in the next 5 years, that's a huge deal, right? That will make it almost the same market cap right now as Bitcoin, right? About $1 trillion, right? So we anticipate that this space will grow phenomenally, especially within the next 5 years, right? After the next Bitcoin halving, it will also be during that time, Bitcoin Cash, its next halving event, right? So as more adoption, as AMC theaters and institutional players begin to, I think they already are actually wise to the Bitcoin Cash and its target goal of replacing fiat money globally. What you have right now is a lot of countries, because of Bitcoin, because of their awareness of Bitcoin, because of their research into what is Bitcoin and how they may transact with it, or how they may compete with it, or how they may embrace it. Because of that single fact, right? The governments went out and they're trying to create their own digital dollar to tell you that, yes, here you go, whatever country you live in and reside in, now you get compensated and remunerated in this, which is their own form of digital dollar, their sovereign dollar. Remember, it's a sovereign for the governments, the country you live in, right? However, what is that backed by? If I give you a digital paper, right? It's a digital paper. What does that mean to you? What is it backed by? Is it backed by your own economy? Is it backed by somebody else's economy? So as we've seen with El Salvador, they're going with Bitcoin because Bitcoin is backed by itself. It's backed by mathematics. It's backed by cryptography, right? So they're using that with the upgrades of the Lightning Network, which has recently happened. And also in November, there's another upgrade to the Bitcoin infrastructure where it's a consensus agreement that will transpire, right? So it's all the miners came together and agreed, sure, most of us will vote on having this upgrade to Bitcoin, which is going to be in November, so just next month. Back 4 years ago, when they did not have a consensus and an agreement, Bitcoin Cash was formed because it's like, okay, you go your way, I'm going to go my way, and I have my opinion, you have yours. That's great. We're just going to make a copy of Bitcoin, essentially, and implement the scalability feature sets that we feel will benefit the greater society as the adoption intensifies, as it becomes more rapid in terms of, its usage, right? So the utilization is where you have to focus on. So right now, Bitcoin being the oldest and the oldest cryptocurrency, we're seeing that being adopted and looked at as the store of value, as gold 2.0. So gold, as I mentioned earlier, is a $10 trillion asset class right now. So if Bitcoin does replace that, you're looking at a $10 trillion asset class, being that only in Bitcoin, and there may be more, right? So that's the runway that we're looking at. If Bitcoin Cash, which has the same qualities as Bitcoin, including upgrades, that runway is from where it's at right now at what, 6 billion, maybe let's just say 11 billion for sakes, right, of this video. Let's say if it's 11 billion Bitcoin Cash in terms of market cap. What I'm talking about is it's up against the fiat system. The fiat system in terms of dollar value is 100 trillion. So from 11 billion where it's at right now today, if it wants to capture a small percentage of that global fiat market, right, you're looking at a staggering, phenomenal upside potential. So as I sit here in front of you, right, I think about this deeply and seriously because these things happen so fast, right? Technology is moving and there's so many out there. What do I choose for my own self, right? As a business owner, as someone who's been involved in IT for over 20 years and working with technology and learning about adoption, learning about the evolution, learning about a simple thing as user experience, user training, right? All of these matter, right? As you go into your office, Monday morning, or you're working virtually, you had to adapt now to working virtually. Many of you, I've been working virtually for, almost 2 decades, right? With office and then virtual, and that was part of my life because why? I was involved in technology, right? So that was kind of normal. But now I'm seeing the whole world wake up and say, hey, well, we have to switch on our camera. We need lights, camera, action, that type of thing. So it's new, but everyone's adapting. They're embracing and they're evolving, right, through technology. So what I want to get into here, not to take too much of your time, but why I've been talking about Bitcoin Cash, right? So look at this video.
Sunny California. It has been requested that I take a look at the BCH, the Bitcoin Cash chart. And so we're going to be looking at Bitcoin Cash today. And let me say, Bitcoin Cash chart looks strong. Jumping right in here to the chart, as you can see, I'm predicting $4,000 by the end of the year, 39.91 or 40.42 by January 1st, early January this year. I'm predicting that we're going to see an epic rise for Bitcoin Cash. But let's take a look at where it is right now. Right now, for all intents and purposes, it's bearish. We saw bearish divergence in the RSI all the way back here in January of this year on this weekly chart. We were making higher highs in the price action here while simultaneously making lower lows in the RSI. And sure enough, right here at this top here on May 21st, that's when the price action caught up with the RSI and the price action started to move downward with the RSI. So the question is, how far down are we going to go before we see the correction come to an end and Bitcoin Cash begin to take off in its next impulsive wave? And this is what I'm saying. First of all, we see this trend line down here that goes all the way back to March of 2020. We've honored that trend all the way up to this point. We've honored the trend, but I think this line here, the support line here at $383 is very important. And I think that there's a very good chance that we get a wick that comes down and touches this line before we break above this line of resistance And once we break above this line of resistance and make a higher high here above 847 or above 811, now we're back in bullish territory. And now the next impulsive wave can begin to move us towards a new all-time high, really, for Bitcoin Cash is really what we're looking at.
So the previous all-time high for Bitcoin Cash was roughly about $4,000 US about 4 years ago, right? And remember what I said in some of my previous videos, but for those of you who have not yet watched it, 4 years ago, when Bitcoin Cash was forked from Bitcoin, the value of Bitcoin, the value of Bitcoin Cash, they were 1-to-1. So right now we're seeing all the attention, everyone who's new to this industry, everyone who's new to this space, the first thing that they will look at is Bitcoin. Because, hey, I heard it from my next door neighbor. Sure, that's the one I want to buy. Do you have Bitcoin? Do you sell Bitcoin? That's the first thing, right? It was 1-to-1 4 years ago. I'm just saying, if Bitcoin Cash was to go back to 1-to-1 with Bitcoin, for whatever reasons, guess what? Today's price would be 50 grand. And right now it's about $500. It's got the same, it was forked from Bitcoin. So it's got the same immutability. It's got the same supply in terms of 21 million. Sure, because Bitcoin existed for 10, a decade, 10 years, a decade longer than Bitcoin Cash, a lot of that Bitcoin out of the 21 million supply was lost. Because back then, think about 2010, 2011, if you had Bitcoin, it was worth nothing and life was absolutely different. So who cares? It was in a hard drive perhaps, and that hard drive is maybe in a dumpster somewhere, right? And one of these days I will find that story and put it on here. But they're still looking for that hard drive, by the way. It's got about $250 or $270 million value in today's current value. But 10 years ago, it was like almost nothing. So what I'm saying is that we could see the same adoption and trajectory. So AMC came out and said that they're going to accept Bitcoin Cash. Litecoin, sure, Litecoin is probably going to see $800 this year, the latter part of this year. Currently, it's probably about less than $200 US. But Litecoin has a lot more out there, a lot more supply of its coin out there, right? It's not as, condensed as Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash is only 21 million. However, I'm not sure how many of that 21 million has been lost. But for Bitcoin, out of the 21 million that can ever be mined, about 5 million Bitcoin is said to have been lost between, anywhere from 4 million to 6 million, so I'll choose a number in between 5 million. So deduct 21 million minus 5 million, right? So now you have that figure left. And that, as you can see, Bitcoin is taking on more awareness, more adoption, as people embrace this new phenomenon, as organizations and institutions begin putting Bitcoin on their treasury due to its deflationary features and qualities. Remember, Bitcoin Cash has the same store of value properties, right? What this chart on the left side shows is that although the market has been stagnant, as you can see on the left side, sometimes you get this downtrend, right? And these things happen. It's a market, right? It's 724 market. People can trade. If one coin is moving down, people, a lot of traders, that is, move to a different coin, right? And this is a lot of chart reading stuff, right? All I'm saying, without reading the charts, is knowing what the price was. It was $4,000, roughly 4 years ago. And what this guy is mentioning is, thank you for his video, by the way. What he's mentioning is that we could see, Bitcoin Cash break its all-time high, its previous all-time high. So That would put it about, his prediction is to get it to $4,000 at the end of 2021, which is only about a month and a half away, right? So that's a key and a crucial aspect, because I would hate for me to know this knowledge and not being able to express it or share it, right? I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a technologist, right? So I would hate for myself to look at this adoption curve, to look at and see what's going on in terms of inflation, in terms of taxes going up, in terms of the jobs are not what it used to be. You know, I'm a small business owner. I'm a hustler. You know what I mean? It's not easy to have a small business these days, right? Nobody wants to give you the attention that you deserve sometimes. So I speak for a lot of entrepreneurs out there. You know, keep hustling, keep doing your thing. It's not easy to wake up and grind 7 days a week, almost 24 hours throughout the day, right? So mad respect to that. But anyways, wanted to bring you this. You know, it's a 14-minute video, but I have to move on to other things. So Bitcoin Cash, along with a lot of other coins, are seeing some adoption. Yes, it is currently about $500, but remember, I'm speaking of in its comparison to Bitcoin. It's literally almost like buying Bitcoin. So if I'm a young person and I know I can't afford $50,000 for a Bitcoin, and soon by the end of the year, based on the trajectory, based on the forecast, based on what occurred 4 years ago in this cycle, Bitcoin can literally hit 150 grand US by the end of the year. That's definitely unaffordable. And Bitcoin Cash will be almost in the same category at $4,000. But right now, Ethereum is that. So I'm not talking about Ethereum, even though Ethereum could go from where it's at right now, $3,500 to 10, 20 grand by spring, who knows, right? Speculating at this point. But Ethereum has a great, now it has a deflationary aspect to it. Bitcoin Cash, ladies and gentlemen, always had a deflationary aspect to it due to the fact that it was created from Bitcoin, right? And the developers essentially left it the same as Bitcoin, but with larger block sizes. So they changed the block size and they made some other additions. Now Bitcoin Cash has a smart contract ability to it. Smart contracts are what are used in terms of NFTs. And I think everybody's heard of NFTs, you know, especially sports fans. So NFTs are literally smart contracts and they run on the Ethereum network. So Bitcoin Cash also has that ability now with Bitcoin Cash smart contracts, right? So let's keep that in mind. It's constantly evolving, and we'll see what happens in the future. But as Bitcoin goes up, it lifts all boats. And when institutions, you know, I'm a small business owner, don't forget that, because I'm looking at what could be beneficial to my organization, right? And I am looking at this as a store of value, as you know, it has a bit better runway in terms of it's trying to capitalize on the $100 trillion market. So don't forget about the countries out there that went through a crisis in terms of their inflation, their dollar, and things are becoming so crazy that, you know, they have to adopt you know, a digital currency and adopt one such as Bitcoin, right? So that's, you know, if I go back in time, January, you're celebrating the 2020 January, and I say, hey, you know what, guess what? In a year and a half, you're going to see a country adopt Bitcoin. You'd be like, yeah, right. There's no way that'll ever happen. Guess what? We're here. When that country says, hey, you know what? I spent $30 in Bitcoin to give it out to the people. I now have this Bitcoin, but I don't have all the money in the world to keep buying Bitcoin because it keeps going up. It keeps going up in price. When Bitcoin hits 100 grand and does a 2x from here, that's kind of going to be simply too expensive for even countries, even companies, right? You got to be really, really rich. And any smart company, any smart government who is embracing technology as a competitive advantage, they will look at Bitcoin Cash because why? They're learning about the whole ecosystem. They're learning about the 7,000 cryptos that exist, right? It will take some time. It will take a lot of people, 1,000 people per organization, perhaps, to do the research and come back and say, well, yeah, people like me, this is what we've been talking about, right? Small entrepreneurs, because we're seeing ahead of the future, right? I'm trying to protect my business. I'm trying to protect my net worth, right? So this is what I'm doing. And as I acquire this knowledge, I'm just sharing it with you guys, right? Because I see the world is changing, and a lot of things are happening that maybe everyone is not aware of. And this is a great example, right? You wouldn't hear this on your 6 o'clock news. But anyways, hope you enjoyed that one. I would like to also bring your attention to this article here. So I haven't mentioned about Solana, and I won't go into what Solana is, very specifically. A lot of people say that it's an Ethereum competitor. This project is moving beyond light speed in my eyes. I'm like, wow, holy smokes, this is crazy. But anyways, Grayscale, this is a company that I've known about for a couple of years. And what they do is actually come out, they buy they buy the Bitcoin. So they were going after Bitcoin when it was like $3,000 last year. They go after it, they buy it, they buy Chainlink, they buy Ethereum. Why? Because they know that it's coming. What are they buying it for? Not just to hold as a company, but large, other large institutions wants to buy crypto, but they're not gonna, each institution not gonna register and do their KYC with Coinbase and, no. So this is where Grayscale comes in. It says, hey, we've got all these top asset tiers that you would like, and we'll sell it to you. They will sell these coins, these cryptos to these other institutions at a premium. So if Bitcoin is 50 grand, these guys are probably paying 60 grand for one Bitcoin US, right? So that's the idea, right? These are for institutionals. So they just added Solana up to 494 million digital large cap, right? So this is huge. So Solana has been doing some great work, and we'll definitely see more to come from Solana. So that's one thing I wanted to bring to your attention. Also, in the past, as I've mentioned, as a small crypto, MTV, right? So I mentioned that on my Instagram post sometimes, and I didn't talk about it much, but a lot of my friends, a lot of people want to say, hey, what is the next thing that could be like, something like Dogecoin, for example, right? Well, MTV, I was made aware of this one. It's a project called MTV Multivac. I literally had that below a penny, and I see it gaining momentum, right? So it's still risky because it's very small, right? That's the sense. But when I look at this chart here, Solana, which you just saw from my previous post, is being adopted by Grayscale and some other huge players, which I'll show you on the screen. FTM, that's a well-known project. Matic is great because it's going to piggyback off of the Ethereum network. So as Ethereum and people are transacting within the Ethereum expect high fees and some slowness, Matic was created to assist in that, right? In that regard. So you can still do those transactions, except it's going to be cheaper, faster for you. We'll, the future, we'll see what happens with Matic, but that's a very promising future so far, right? Because as Ethereum rises, so will Matic. Look at these percentage gains. The top 15 blockchain infrastructure projects by price performance in 2021. So look at MTV. And, it's few notches behind Solana, right? So that is, and this is there's another project here. This one is called SOUL, S-O-U-L. And this is another interesting project with regards to I think NFTs. Yeah. Here's what I wanted to bring up. Billionaire investor Chamath believes Bitcoin BTC has already replaced gold, and he backs Solana. So if I'm reading between the lines, I see Chamath, who's a huge BTC proponent, and I see Grayscale adding Solana. And I look at a chart like what I had up on the screen earlier, which really shows you MTV, right, is rising up there. I was really shocked when I saw that chart with the infrastructure. And, time will tell, right? Those are the baby projects of the crypto world, right? There's so many out there, but these ones I've been looking at closely. So check out SOUL. SOUL is probably about, let's see if I can find it here. SOUL is probably about 70 cents right now. Phantasma, yeah, that's it. Oh, wow, it jumped 26% since yesterday. So I actually bought this yesterday myself at, not much, a couple $100, but it jumped up. And I don't know if this website will tell you anything about what the project's on, but anyways, you can buy it off of KEOY and Uniswap. So Phantasma, which is the SOUL, brings a decentralized content distribution system running on the blockchain with strong emphasis on privacy and security, right? Relying on third-party services for something as critical as personal email or photos or videos is dangerous. Companies can be hacked, bankruptcies can happen, and for the artists, making amazing videos, games, music, and or other copyrighted content, giving up a large percentage of your revenue can be very discouraging. So plus content creators are usually become locked into those centralized platforms with the overhanging danger of arbitrary rule changes cutting their revenues. So this is real life, folks, real life. So blockchain seeks to solve a lot of these, middleman problems, right? So it's bringing decentralized content distribution system running on the blockchain with this strong emphasis of privacy and security. What is this price? I'm really interested. So this is about 86 cents. Keep an eye on this because this, as I mentioned, Theta has been doing great works. I watched Theta from 50 cents last year. I was really busy with Chainlink. There's only so much money everybody has, right? So my favorite at that time was like, okay, I'm going to look at Chainlink, which did very well. But then I saw Theta went from like 50 cents all the way up to like over $10 US. And I'm like, wow, how did I miss that? But anyways, it happens. You know, people in the crypto space spoke about this one about several months ago, actually, 5 to 7 months ago. And I became aware of it recently and I started looking at it. So overall, this coin has done very well over the last year, 875%. Over the last 30 days only, it's been up 127%, right? What makes this really special? The circulating supply is this number here. So out of the total supply, right, you've got the circulate, like it's maxed out. So all the coins that they have right now are maxed out. There's no more. As this project seeks to become more, create more awareness about their brand and their service offering, right, and the adoptability, we should see this price increase, right? And it's, you know, now I'm talking about it. When you're informed through my knowledge, then you'll refer that to somebody else. You'll talk about it. You'll do your own research. You'll find out more as a creator, an artist yourself. What am I going to use? What is the next platform, right? So Theta is already like at $10. A lot of people say that Theta can go to $3,000 in 5 years or something like that. So time will tell, right? But they've already making the partnerships and connections to ensure that they're going to be a significant major player in the future. All I'm pointing out is, hey, maybe this small company here, Phantasma, is trying to take some of that market share. So it's like in business, when you have the conglomerates with their market share, you're just trying to take a little bit of that, right? You don't need it all, right? And this is starting off really here at the bottom. It's less than $1, right? I would probably be more wary of projects that are less than a cent or, you know, less than 10 cents maybe. Those come with a high reward, but it can also come with a high risk. And you have to likely wait definitely a longer period of time for that to surface, right? For any profits to surface and because of the awareness, etc. So wanted to share that. And something I had here. This is the October charts, right? So we can see here that typically October, BTC returns in October is, you know, quite green, whether it be just a 10% move or something like that. So 2018, that was a bear market. 2014, I believe that was the bear market. 2012, we had the halving there, but it was new. And the rest, October was great. I don't know why. In 2017, 47% return. So maybe let's say in 2020 it was 30. You know, even if that hits 15, you know, this year is supposed to be similar to 2017, however. So being that as it may, you know, it would be nice if you see another 30% green. So things are not always green. It can't be green grass all the time, right? So I always have to tell myself that as well. So if Bitcoin is green in October, November, December, and the cycle is very similar to what occurred 4 years ago, we're about to see things get really crazy, right? Whether it does or not, time will tell. But what I'm focused on is being patient and with the understanding that 5 billion people are coming into this space. So TikTok recently was all over the news saying they have 1 billion users. So all of us, right? Everybody's using TikTok, right? A lot of early adopters started with TikTok and now they're grateful to that fact because now they've accumulated all these followers, right? Maybe it was easier back then. I don't know. So time will tell, but TikTok is going to start looking at NFTs and NFTs based on the Ethereum network. So you're literally going to be educating 1 billion people who currently uses TikTok about, NFTs or crypto. And Twitter came on last week and says, hey, we now endorse and we now have tipping on our platform. So with that in mind, if Twitter's doing this and they're a social media conglomerate, what makes you think that YouTube or TikTok wouldn't do the same? And another one here, Digicorp. So Digicorp Labs, I just started following these guys here. Digicorp, so you can look into this further, but they are powered by DGB, right? So DGB is a project that's, its current value is about 10 cents, or maybe, between 5 and 10 cents. But DGB has been around, and DGB actually, from what I hear, DGB saved Dogecoin back in the day, right? So it's very secure. It was one of those projects that was derived from Bitcoin and then changed and so on and so forth. But they've been doing some great things, and we'll see what's happening in the future for that. So next on the screen here is Dent. So I mentioned Dent in one of my previous posts. So DeFi is coming to the Dent ecosystem. So imagine that. I never thought I'd actually see that. But DeFi is coming to the Dent ecosystem. Dent, its previous all-time high was 10 cents, quite a while ago, maybe about 4 years ago. And we are anticipating that it, if things go well with Bitcoin, if people are not suppressing it, etc., Bitcoin will go up. As Bitcoin goes up, projects like this, this Dent has been around for about over 5 years. They've been doing some great things. Buy Dent before it gets huge. Keep up the great work. Dent is a project that is bringing mobile data on the blockchain. So what that means is it capitalizes on the eSIM technology, and everyone knows someone with an iPhone. The iPhone came out with this eSIM feature and capability a few years ago, right? Beginning from probably like iPhone 10 and up. So that eSIM, so you know that you have a SIM in your card, this eSIM allows you, instead of you traveling to another country and you have to take a physical SIM and change it because now you're in that other country. Well, guess what? This has the eSIM capability so that all you have to do is log into the app, and the app is currently utilized by about 40 million people globally, right? So it's a small project. They made it up to 2 pennies, 2 cents US back in April, and it went way down. Then after the market crashed, this thing went from 2 cents to like half a penny in value. You don't lose until you sell, right? And that market, these small projects, they can be extremely volatile. So be careful with stacking a lot of your money in there. I know because I got burnt doing the same thing. So I'm here to give you the lessons learned, right? The best way to play this is to treat it like a wild card and say, hey, you know what? What if that goes to $1? How many shares would I want to have, right? So at current value at maybe a cent right now or less, I can't remember. Maybe I'll want to pick up some shares and just keep it, right? If I pick up, 50,000, or if I pick up 100,000, or if one day that miraculously hits $1, guess what? It's 100 grand in the bank, right? For me sitting here on a Sunday pre-planning or whatever, I did that. I learned about Dent earlier this year and I got really excited about it, but I got also impatient, and that's what you can't do in this space. Nothing will happen overnight. You might see numbers and green candles jump overnight. Sure, it'll also do the same thing with the red overnight, right? So position size, I'm not a financial advisor, but position size is something that I've learned, and patience, right? Understanding that this is something new, it's not going to happen overnight. Give it time and look to the future, right? This company, Dent, they're also featured on, at least they were featured on apple.com as a wireless provider. So I think that's about all in terms of the updates. I don't want to keep you too long here. I'm just trying to check to see if I see anything else. Right now, no. That's about it. We should see exciting times, so stay focused and use this time to learn about these cutting edge technologies. Follow them on Twitter, follow myself on Twitter. Let's see what's happening here. Michael Saylor. So Michael Saylor has been amazing for the whole crypto space, especially Bitcoin, right? So he's a huge Bitcoin proponent. Once he understood what Bitcoin was, it was like, that's it, game over. Let me tell all my institutional friends about Bitcoin. And we always knew about Bitcoin, and we have nothing but love and respect for Bitcoin. I'm just saying, once that goes to $1 million or $5 million, so it'll bring everything up with it, including Bitcoin Cash, including MTV probably, Ethereum definitely. More money is going to come into this space like you've never seen before, right? Why? Because every human has a greed factor in them, right? So it's important to be humble and wise, right? And don't get deterred by FUD in the market, negative news. Know that this is going somewhere. It's Bitcoin is a deflationary asset. When I look at real estate, for example, if I say, hey, you know what, you want to go and buy a condo, you want to buy a townhome, you want to buy a house, guess what? You're going to need to come up with a certain amount of capital, typically 20% capital, right? So as you come up with and provide this 20%, now you have to be ready to willing to take on the loan, right? So now you're asking the bank, can you give me a loan? I'm going to come up with 20% of this. And the bank will look at you and say, well, why should I give you 20%? Are you credible? First thing they want to check is your credit score. With crypto, and why would you want to buy the asset, right? The real estate. Well, it goes up in value over time, right? But now you're borrowing money to put in and invest into an asset that which you believe will go up, limitless over time. Real estate is something very near and dear to everyone's heart. Doesn't matter who you are, what your professional is. Real estate, you have to live somewhere, somebody who's living somewhere, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Everybody would love real estate. All I'm saying with this crypto space, no matter what profession you're in right now, you're in tune to crypto and the crypto world, right? Because it's a new asset class. So think about all the different asset classes in the world. This one is a new asset class, and we're learning, we're uncovering. You have a lot of people sharing information like myself, great people out there. There's a lot of scammers out there. Like, just do your own research. Don't give your money, to somebody who says, yeah, they'll give you back, 10 times the value. You've got to be careful in this space. So my mission is just to help bring some real knowledge, what I learned in the market, and see how that goes, right? As we all follow this space, right? So Bitcoin is not everything. It's created the awareness that we have a lot of potential to solve problems globally, right? We have the potential through different projects, through different aspirations, right? We can achieve, but the consensus right now is it is going to be blockchain driven, right? So that is a huge dynamic, right? Blockchain will introduce itself to you at some point in your life, right? Through Bitcoin, through Ethereum, through small projects like Soul, Phantasma, or MTV, or even Dogecoin, right? Yes, I said that. Elon Musk and a lot of celebrities out there are becoming hooked on, hey, what is crypto? What can it do for me? What is NFTs? What is that? It's a smart contract. What is it, right? Can I make money from it? And then how can my followers make money from this, right? So we've seen some people, entertainers in the industry, sell an album for $1, and then all of a sudden you see that album probably hit $500 for, I forgot the artist's name, but it's really teaching us about scarcity. So in real estate, when you look for an asset, you're looking for location, the scarcity aspect of it. If there's a lot of people migrating to a certain country, they're going to come with the intention of picking up an asset to reside in. So number one, you need to live somewhere. So yes, right, the asset in which you reside in will become your number one because of you live in it. What will happen if you have 10 properties? You're not carrying that mortgage. You ask the bank for a loan. What happens when you have 10 properties or 2 properties and your renter comes up and says, you know what, due to this whole COVID stuff, I lost my job. I didn't want to get vaccinated, blah, blah, blah. Now, they're forcing people to take vaccination or else you lose your job. These type of things. You don't know what the circumstance could be, right? Everybody's different. And that's it, right? The dollar is not stretching as far as it used to, right? The jobs are changing, the dynamics, like people have to work 2 jobs. I'm hustling here all the time myself, So it's like, what happens when that starts to change, right? What happens to the people who can't come up with that rent money, right? Sure, there's an eviction process and, these things take time, right? But I'm looking at an asset class that's really, really being heavily adopted in the background. And it's a new asset class, and there's some significant value in there through its mathematical, computational, cryptographic qualities and features, and it's a transparency-based system. So as we move forward in the internet evolution, right, the Web 3.0, these are the new companies of tomorrow, right? So I'm sitting here on the 3rd of October 2021, and let's see what'll happen a year from now. I wish you all nothing but the best. Stay tuned. I'll try to provide you as much updates as possible. Please like and hit subscribe, and I'll try to bring you updates as I see them come in and just give you the real, So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today. That's a wrap.